Welcome back to Spree Tea, where we spill the tea from strangers online about their health-related issues, and together we decipher whether or not we think a person is in the right or wrong for feeling a certain way about a health-related issue. But today's episode is going to be a bit different from the ones previously, because in today's episode, we're not talking about strangers. We are talking about very well-known people, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck to be exact. The reason being is because Jennifer Lopez just filed for divorce from Ben Affleck just last week, and this marks her fourth marriage overall in her lifetime. And this love story that they have between the two is very unique and it's quite different. People thought that this was going to be a promising relationship for her because they had been together in the past and then they split ways, each married different people, and then they reunited. But you guys, the reunion only lasted 2 years. And the reason being, well, she has her side, he has his side. But the reason why this is today's topic is because it has to deal with mental health issues and it also has to deal with alcoholism. And so together we are going to decide whether or not Jennifer was in the right or wrong for potentially contributing to Ben Affleck's distaste towards her throughout the marriage and wanting to be apart from her. So let's get on into it. So if you don't already know, Ben Affleck is a recovering alcoholic, and Jennifer Lopez is somebody who is always in the public eye, and she actually likes being in the public eye. And she said that Ben Affleck has always felt uncomfortable whenever they would do red carpet appearances together, and whenever he would just have to be photographed and seen with her. And that was actually the reason why they broke up many years prior. And when they decided to get back together and marry each other, like 2 years ago, he was under the impression that she would not be throwing him around in the public eye, wanting paparazzi to photograph and document everything. To him, that does not make him comfortable. He doesn't like that, especially because he's a recovering alcoholic. He doesn't even like to be at events, but she would drag him to events, or so this was his interpretation of the marriage. She would drag him to events and kind of force him to be there, especially big events like the Grammys, where he would be not only surrounded by paparazzi, something that he didn't like, but also he would be tempted by alcohol. This was a dangerous situation and environment to be in because everybody around him was drinking and he had to refrain from giving into his temptations. And so now this presents the question of whether or not Jennifer was in the right or wrong for bringing him to these events. Because in Jennifer's eyes, he is not being a cooperative partner and a cooperative teammate. And in a marriage, you're supposed to be on the same team as one another, and she felt like him not attending these things with her was not a sign of a good partner and was not a supportive partner. But then in Ben's eyes, her making him go to these events was not fair because she was putting him in tempting situations. So what do you guys think? Was Jennifer in the right or wrong for making him attend these things and potentially contributing to the divorce that happened and was just announced last week? I do kind of see Ben's side where Jennifer would be in the wrong for making her do those things. Now, obviously, we don't know the exact extent of their relationships and the private conversations they have had with one another, but in her documentary, she also aired out all these private love letters that he sent her. So she does have this pattern of not liking things to be private and being an open book and going against his wishes in that regard. And that is a sign of a disrespectful partner. So she has already proven to be disrespectful in that regard in wanting the public eye to be on him when he has already expressed that makes him uncomfortable. So she isn't really meeting him in the middle, but it does also beg the question, what is the healthy compromise? Because if you are somebody who is with somebody who has just decided to stop drinking and they have alcoholic tendencies and they have the ability and the tendency to binge drink, but you still want them to support, what does support then look like in that kind of dynamic? What would be the healthy compromise? Maybe not going to every single event, but still, I don't think the quantity really matters. I don't think one event is like less tempting than the other. So I don't think minimizing the type of events or the frequency of going to events would really be a healthy compromise. I think in this situation, Jennifer should have really adhered to his mental health and not make him go at all. Because sometimes that's what compromise looks like is not really meeting in the middle, because sometimes you can't meet in the middle, especially when it comes to addiction. There really is no middle to meet. It's either one thing or another. But then there is the argument that Ben should have just controlled his temptations better and not blamed her for his inability to control his impulses and urges. So, what do you guys think? But if you guys are somebody who is going through alcoholism or you have an addictive personality and you still like to be involved in the social gatherings that involve alcohol, but you don't actually want to have to drink alcohol in order to fit in or in order to attend these things, and you still want to mesh in with the crowd that you find yourself in, go to Spree and go to our nutrition section, and we actually have non-alcoholic sparkling wine for you on our website. You can also download our app, but these beverages have the same flavor profile almost as regular typical wine, except it excludes the nasty hangover. That way you can blend in more with the social setting that you find yourself in without having to feel like you're sticking out like a sore thumb. And oftentimes, even when people who are trying to quit their addiction to nicotine or other types of products, it's the act of actually sipping something or inhaling something that makes you psychologically still feel like you are doing that very thing that you were addicted to prior, because it's the same routine or movement that you're doing. So it makes it easier for you to blend into the crowd or let go of that habit that was toxic and addictive to begin with by replacing it with a routine or a movement that is very similar to the thing you're trying to replace. So that is why, people who are addicted to cigarettes, they end up sucking on straws because it's the same motion, or, inhaling something that has no nicotine in it, but is still the process of inhaling. And same with alcohol, just drinking a non-alcoholic beverage, trying to have something that has the same flavor profile, which ours does, as typical wine, so that you feel like you're not actually giving up on something. And so it's easier on the brain to comprehend and to accept. But anyway, let me know what you guys think of this divorce in the comments down below, and I will see you next week. Bye.